Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how you can use DIVEX with object-oriented code. So in this example I have an interface called iLogger. It has a single method called log, which takes a single parameter of type string. It has a single implementation called console logger, but you can create many implementations of iLogger, right? And here I have an application class. This class takes a logger in its constructor and then an integer parameter called count, right? And the constructor simply stores these values into fields, right? These fields. And this class has a single method called run. This method simply logs the count and then it loops count times, and each time it logs the word running. So now in the main method, here I'm treating the application class as a function. If I hover over application class here, it says constructor, and then here I have a function with the following signature. It takes two parameters, a logger and an integer count, and it returns application class. So basically DIVEX allows you to treat the constructor of a class as a function, right? And the output of this function is an instance of this class, right? Because this is a constructor. Now because a constructor is treated as a normal DIVEX function, I can use any of the DIVEX features on this function, right? So here I'm injecting console logger, which is another constructor, into application class. And console logger doesn't have a constructor defined, and C# by default gives you a parameterless constructor. So this means that the constructor of console logger takes no parameters and returns an instance of console logger, right? So here I'm injecting this function as a value for logger, and therefore the resulting function, which I call create, has a single parameter, which is count, and it returns application class. And the reason for that is that console logger is used to provide a value for iLogger, right? So basically the logger parameter has been fixed, right? So what I have been able to do here, I have been able to fix the fact that I want to use a console logger with my application class without fixing the value of the count parameter, right? So here I can use the create function to create an object of type application class using count2, and in another instance here I'm doing the same thing but with count3, right? So if I run the code now using Ctrl Shift and X, here is the result of running the run method when count is 2, and here's the result of running the run method when the count is 3, right? And let me show you what happens if I add a parameter to the constructor of the console logger class. So here's the console logger class. I'm going to add a constructor. And I'm just going to add a simple string parameter called str, and I'm not going to do anything with it. Okay. So now if I look at the signature of create here, now it requires this str parameter. So what happened is DIVEX bubbles up parameters, right? So here, this console logger constructor, it requires this str parameter, and this parameter was not satisfied by the injection, right? So what happened is this parameter bubbled up to the resulting function, which is create. Now if I need to call create, I have to pass a value for this parameter, right? Okay. So I think this is a good chance for me to talk about DIVEX operators. So there are many DIVEX operators. One of them is the apply operator. which simply does partial application, but another operator is the replace operator, and this is the operator used here under the hood. So if you look at the signature of the application class constructor, it requires a logger, right? But here, when we injected console logger is a function. It's not a value, right? So this is not partial application. This is a usage of the replace operator. And the requirements of the replace operator are the following. In the first function, you have a value, not a function, like this logger value here. But then you inject a function, which is able to create an object that can satisfy this value, right? So console logger is a function that creates or that returns an object that is a logger, and the dependency in application class is a logger. So basically we are injecting a function as a value, not for a function, but for a value, right? And under the hood, when this create function is called, this function here is executed first to obtain a logger, and then that logger is used to call this function here. I mean the constructor of application class, right? So the end result is the same as the previous examples I showed you. You can inject functions or classes into each other, and you can choose which things to fix and which things to delay to a later point in time. If you would like to learn more about DIVEX, please subscribe to this channel, and if you like this video, please hit the like button. Okay, thank you for watching.